Will Bitcoin crash in 2024 or continue going up? Well, first things first. Yes, at some point Bitcoin will crash. But that doesn't mean the end. Just think about it. Even though we have seen 2 crashes bigger than 50%, Bitcoin is still here and going strong. So what's next? Will it rise or fall? Let's dive into this question with data and real numbers to find out. First, let's look at why Bitcoin could go down. There are 3 main reasons. First, let's look at why Bitcoin could go down. There are 3 main reasons. Number 1 is a natural correction. Think of Bitcoin like a roller coaster. It goes up and down in cycles. After the halving, which is happening in April 2024, a drop of 20 to 30% is normal before hitting new record highs. For example, in 2020, Bitcoin dropped 53% after the halving. But guess what? It bounced back and went up by 600%. So a dip is normal? Reason no. 2. Macroeconomic pressure. If inflation in the United States doesn't cool down and the Fed keeps interest rates higher for longer, there might be less money flowing into crypto. Reason no. 3. Regulation or hackers. When there's bad news like a country banning Bitcoin or something similar, people sometimes panic and sell, making the price drop. But these dips usually don't last long. Okay, so now let's see why Bitcoin may keep rising. 3 reasons here. First, more companies are accepting Bitcoin as payment, especially since the approved ETFs started injecting over $10 billion in 2024 alone. Just think about it. Traditional investors are now buying Bitcoin without having to set up complicated wallets or worry about security. They just buy ETF shares like any other investment. This means more demand and potentially higher prices for Bitcoin. Second, the halving. As I mentioned earlier, the halving is coming in April 2024. This means that after the halving, fewer Bitcoins will be created, making them rarer and potentially driving up their price in the long run. Third, global crises like banks failing or even war make Bitcoin look like a safe bet. People want to move their money somewhere where it's harder to steal or lose. That's why during tough times, Bitcoin often looks like a good option. Some call it digital gold. So to wrap things up, let's see what the experts say about Bitcoin's future. Both the bad news and the good news. Standard Chartered Bank predicts $50,000, while Metric Sport believes it will reach $125,000 in 2025. However, if you look at the average price of Bitcoin 18 months after each halving, you'll see it goes up by around 300%. So will this time be any different? Only time will tell. So how should you prepare for all these possible scenarios? Let me share 3 tips. No. 1. Use stop loss. This is like setting a safety net. You tell the exchange to automatically sell your Bitcoin if it drops below a certain price. For example, 15% below the current price. No. 2. DCA or buy on dips. This means if Bitcoin falls to, let's say, $50,000, you buy some Bitcoin then. And no. 3. Diversify. Don't put all your money in one basket. If you're talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and stablecoins like USDT and USDC are a good mix. Now let me share my thoughts based on 3 different profiles of investors. If you are a trader, pay attention to the support level. Right now, $60,000 is a key support level. Bitcoin falls below that, it might drop further, so traders can watch for buying opportunities at lower prices. If you are a holder, ignore the short term. The post-halving cycle tends to be worth it. And if you are scared, allocate only 5 to 10% of your assets in crypto. Bitcoin is not a gamble. It is a long-term asset. Those who have held it for 5 years or more have never lost. Remember, no one can predict the future. Always do your own research and be careful. And if you need help putting together a strategy, tell me your profile, conservative, bold, or somewhere in between, and I will help.